Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 36, and in the last episode was a fantastic episode. It was my favourite episode of the series so far. I loved all of the, just the interesting individual styles that you can have from your nen, and who has what, and how that like sort of determines how people fight. And I love the fact that, you know, if you learn, you can actually learn multiple, and then if they're adjacent, you know, they work better and like, you know, work better in tandem with each other and things like that. It's really interesting. I can't wait like to see like some of like the interesting things that come up because of, you know, what people have depending on their nen and whatnot. But also because Gon versus Hisoka is happening. We got a little teaser. I mean, I felt like it was more than a teaser. At the end of last episode, we got more than I thought we were going to get. I thought it was going to end before the fight even started, but no, it started. We got a good fucking first sort of couple minute brawl there between the two that just went non-stop. Somehow they've both got a clean hit. I'm sure Hisoka got more than one clean hit. I mean, he hit him in the gut once, and at least he hit him in the face once as well. He might have even done what, like, hit him clean once, like another time as well, but I don't know. But the big thing is that Gon hit him. So went round the back, flipped one of the sort of like the paving concrete slabs or whatever at him. Fucking, I think he kicked the thing. It all broke into like, you know, fucking like 100 pieces or whatever. Gon hid behind one of the big ones, got behind him, smashed him in the face. So he got a clean hit on Hisoka, which is, I thought that was all that his, like, Gon really wanted, you know what I mean? Or I guess that's all Hisoka really said. It's like, if he can hit me clean like I just did there, then he can, you know, that whole thing. But I guess it's a match, so I guess it's still, you know, one loses. So yeah, I don't have anything else to really say. We're just going to get in this episode and see how this fight goes down. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 36. Yeah, another great episode. These two, like, last two episodes have been great. The great pairing, like, together. Of course, just, you know, simple, like, for the simple fact that, you know, they connect, in the fact that, you know, we've literally, last episode was the start of the God and Hisoka fight, and then continued on to this one. But yeah, it was just a great pairing of the two episodes anyway. So yeah, what, I mean, well, the first thing I wrote down in this episode was Sparkling Guy. Question mark. Who the fuck was that? I don't know who the fuck that was. I mean, he seemed rather like an interesting character design, so I'm more inclined to believe that like he's somebody special in regards to the Heavens Arena, maybe the Floor Master that Hisoka needs to go take on. That would make sense. Considering the fact that, you know, if Hisoka wins this, which is the fact that he hasn't lost a match. I mean, he's lost 3, but he chose to forfeit, right? He didn't like lose. He didn't lose on his own accord. But he only need one more win, so it would you know, it would make sense for the Floor Master to come watch. Although it is strange that a Floor Master isn't known by one of the commentators. That is a bit weird. So maybe not then. I don't know. Maybe he's just a random guy. I don't know. For our benefit, you know? Basically saying that the referee's decision is kind of up to him in a way. Which is a bit bullshit, because, I mean, are there any rules regarding referees? Like, do they have to be fair and give, like, a reasonable answer? So if someone literally did get downed, could the referee, for example, not class it as a down? If he was trying to, like, fix the match. I'm sure they'll not be able to allow that, you know what I mean? There has to be some reasoning behind their choices, right? I'd imagine. Still, though, but it kind of does answer my question of the reason why some of the hits that Gon took weren't counted as clean hits. So, yeah, I mean, I guess so. But then that kind of goes against the idea of what he said later on after the match in the interview, where he said that you know, it was bad, so I wanted to end it quickly. But then again, that was at the very beginning of the match, so I guess he was giving him a chance. Oh god, I want to hate him because I hate that's it's very rare that there's a referee that you like I mean, me being a sort of, you know, I like football. You know what I mean? I prefer ice hockey, but you know, and generally when you know a decision goes against your team, you tend to just fucking hate on the referees. But you know what I mean? Whatever, we'll get over it. I love the exchange of the tag. I love that. Like they came walking up to each other because they both knew. You know what I mean? It was great. And then we got on to the sort of the you know, where they took a break, and Hisoka was pointing out what he sees as personality traits and how they compare with their class, and that's how he determines who is what. Now, in some regards, I can see like I have like in some regards I can agree with them, but in others I don't. I'm not so sure, because for example, you know, transmuters, right? He says that they're fickle and dishonest. Now, with Killua, fickle, yes, maybe. In fact, no, yes, because you know. But then, I mean, if he's talking about personality traits, right? And he's talking like he said that it was similar to how he, like, you know, to blood type, right? Which is something that is not. It's not concrete, you know. Just because you're a certain blood type, it's like a star sign, right? It's like those things where it's like star sign. It's you know, in regards to, you know, whether you're a, you know, because I'm a Pisces, right? And then you have those things where it says Pisces. It's like, you know, you love your own time, but you love spending it with others as well. It's like, you know, it's like, well, what is it? One or the other, you know what I mean? So obviously it's good because they're made to you know, entice you in. So they just give you literally every option, you know, so that at least something compares to you, and you're like, oh yeah, that is right. So it must have something to do with it. But no, I mean, it's not concrete. And I mean, well, the fact is that he's a transmuter, and he says, like, you know, Hisoka, he says he's dishonest, so maybe he's just talking shit about this whole thing as well. Maybe he's just like, no, I'm just being dishonest about the whole thing. But when he says that, you know, like, the idea of like opposites attract, it makes sense because Gon and Hisoka, right, have had that sort of threaded by fate thing. But then you also have Gon and Killua, who are like, you know, them two are like that. So, I mean, you have that. But then you have the idea of like manipulators apparently argumentative. Now, Zushi is a manipulator, but I don't see him as argumentative at all. You know what I mean? I've never seen him be that way inclined. So I don't know, it could be completely garbage. Specialists being independent, what would not surprise me is that if Gon's father, Jing, is a specialist, because he's supposed, he's fucking sort of legendary in this world, kind of, in a way, you know, almost like a myth in a way. But and I wonder if that might have something to do with the fact that he's a specialist, you know, and being independent. He seems like he's kind of one for his, you know, kind of wanders off on his own, maybe kind of like a lone wolf type character. If it does have anything to do with it, then I did write down emitter. Emitters have short tempers, so I'm wondering if that means that Leo will be a emitter. I don't know. It's so like tough to determine like whether or not it's just like, you know, does it really matter? Because I know in Japan, like their whole thing about blood type is like, it's kind of like us Westerners with like star signs. It's like, you know, but I feel like it's more so in Japan, like, you know, because not everyone in the West has a sort of acclamation with their star sign. Like, a lot of us don't really give a shit. But, you know, but in Japan, it seems like blood type is always something that gets brought up in anime. And they have like that blood type thing. Like, it's something that like literally every Japanese person knows, like their blood type, you know. So it's hard to determine whether or not they are doing this, and it actually does correlate with what Hisoka is saying. It's just that, you know, enhance as simple and earnest. Yeah, that makes sense, right? For Gon. But I just, yeah, I don't know if it has any. I don't know if it has any correlation, but it could easily do so. You know, because the only thing I'm worried about is me taking this on board and being like, and like just looking for character traits and being like, oh well, he's like that, so he must be this. You know what I mean? And then being completely wrong because, you know, Hisoka was just, you know, that's the way he determines it. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. So yeah, we'll go through all of that, and then yeah, Contras are high strung as well, so I got that one as well. So yeah, I've went through them all, right? Enhance has simple and earnest, transmuter fickle and dishonest. But that's the things, yeah, because I didn't talk about Killua. Killua, fickle and dishonest. I would say fickle mainly, you know, but that's not something that he was born with. You know what I mean? Like, he was in a family that, like, basically taught him, tortured him, got him in this frame of mind of being an assassin. So every so often, like, he'll change and he'll go with it, right? And he'll have this, like, what the guy said a couple episodes ago, like, he has, like, this underworld sort of, like, affiliation type thing, right? This, like, killing, this, like, aura, right, that he has about him, where he sort of changes, right? And he's not, like, the same person when he changes a bit. So I guess that could be, you know, as fickle. But dishonest? I don't know if I would call Killua dishonest. The only time I could probably relate it to is... But I don't know. The only thing I could relate it to is that moment in the exam when he had... when they were trying to get the tags off each other, right? To get the points. And he switched the tags around and threw the thingy so that Hanzo thought that he threw the one that Hanzo was going after. That's the only time I could imagine, like, I could see him like being dishonest. I don't know. I guess he kind of... Killua allows the fact that he's a child to make others feel like they are underestimating him. I feel like Killua does that. You know? So I guess in some way he could... I don't know. But I do like the fact that, you know, with Transmuter being fickle and dishonest, that Hisoka later on in the match was being dishonest by saying, look right. Oh, sorry, I meant left. You know what I mean? So I like how that, you know, that translates. So yeah, I don't know if it has any real correlation to their classes or not, or if it's just the way that Hisoka sees it. But I don't know. I mean, Hisoka to me is like, he is that character that, even though he says he's dishonest, you almost want to believe everything he says. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But I guess that's just the way Hisoka is, right? He's a joker, right? So yeah, I guess there's no way to snap the bungee gum then. At least not that we know of right now, because, you know, Killua pointed out that only Hisoka can attach it and only Hisoka can detach it. And then they went on this whole thing about, like, you know, basically you're just going to have to not be attacked by him. You're not going to, like, you can't allow him to have that moment to attach it. So I guess there's just no way to snap it then, which is, fuck, that's nuts. And you have to keep your eyes on him at all times. Not even just with Gyo either. But, you know, it made a point before where Gon had turned to the referee to argue a decision, and in that time, you know what I mean, he took his eyes off Hisoka, and Hisoka did his thing, you know. So yeah, you should always pay attention. And yeah, it came up like Hisoka was basically saying, yeah, you know, you're good when you're on point, but yeah, it's your experience that's lacking, right? So I like that. It's good. Yeah, I should have fucking... I noticed during the reaction, I was like, fuck! This is the stuff I should pay attention to, is these little things, right? These little details that happened beforehand. I was like, because I remember he pointed at Castro, right? And then until later, it wasn't until we found out that's what he did. And I'm going to make an excuse for myself in the fact that, like, I haven't reacted to an episode in, like, a full week. So it wasn't on my mind, but fuck, I should have remembered. As soon as he did it, and as soon as he told it, I was like, fuck, I should have remembered that, you know. But yeah, I guess that's what I get for not paying attention. Yeah, so Hisoka allowing Gon to attack, like he's for fuck's sake, that whole sequence of it's like, oh, he's like a, I don't think he has a specific, well, I'm beginning to think Hisoka is more of a submissive than it than not, you know. I guess he's both. But with Gon, I don't know, there just seems to be like, I don't know. I guess he's both. He's BDSM heavy though. He's just allowing himself to get absolutely smacked all over. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so there's that. I think what was actually telling was the fact that Gon hit him so many times and Hisoka never really... I mean, he was probably... I don't know if he didn't move from his spot. But... You know, even if he was heading backwards, he never got downed once. And there was a lot of punches in there. And we've seen Gon, like, smash a fucking wall up with his fists. You know what I mean? And he didn't make Hisoka fall down once, which is quite telling. It's like, Hisoka can take a... He can take a beating. We know this. I mean, he had his arms chopped off by Castro and he never fucking... You know what I mean? He never winced once. So, you know. I'm beginning to wonder if he has any fucking... I don't know if he does or not. I don't even know if he has any fucking any sense of paying up the, I mean, talking about BDSM, right? You know what I mean? Maybe just because he's that much into it, being submissive is just like nothing. You know what I mean? He wants to have, it's like a mixture between wanting to have somebody that can actually challenge him and then, you know, actually cause him some feeling, you know? That's all he's looking for. Ahsoka's weird. He's like, he's such an odd character because it's like he's meant to be an antagonist, but he's not. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's just an odd character, you know. Maybe it's just not as simple as just saying like, oh, protagonists and antagonists. It's just characters. You know what I mean? In a world. But yeah, I mean, he's interesting nonetheless. And then he won by TKO by attaching his fucking bungee gum. I love that fucking. I love that. I love the creativity of that. Not using. I didn't even know if that was if he was even capable of doing that. I would almost say that that's an emitter type thing. You know, because an emitter can propel, right? Or is that the same thing? I'm gonna have to look. I'm literally gonna have to look up the definition of propel. But I thought it's like it propels something. Yeah, it propels something forward, right? It's not really. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, right. What I am sort of confused about, and you're gonna have to like help me here. So bungee gum isn't. Is bungee gum Hisoka's aura? Is that what it is? Because I was confused. Because I thought that bungee gum and that texture, what was it? Texture surprise thing, right? That he wrapped over to basically give him the illusion that his arm hadn't felt like fallen off. I was under the impression that those two were under like the same category when they were talking about it with that girl. Like when Hisoka was talking about it, and he was like, they were almost like support items in a way, you know? Like, but when they were talking about, when they were trying to find out Gon and Killua, like what Hisoka had done, and they were looking over the recorded footage, right, of his match with Castro. They had to use Gyo, and Gyo is there to use, like, to see aura. So I'm interested in, like, I'm wondering if, I think there's a number of things this could be. I think Hisoka is either a conjurer as well, like he's able to conjure, which wouldn't surprise me, or he's having somebody else do it. He's having somebody else make that stuff. I wonder if he's a conjurer as well. I don't know if that would sort of match with his personality though. Yeah, because that's another thing about the personality thing is that, but yeah, but what if you learn something new? I guess the personality thing only determines what their principal sort of thing is. I guess like their first one that they're kind of born with and whatnot. Because if it's conjured, then anything that you conjure is made out of aura, right? But then, But then that would mean that if you were to conjure it out of your aura, then that means that everything you conjure you can't see, like another person can't see, unless they use Gyo, right? But then they could see the texture fucking surprise. I don't know. I think the reason I'm getting confused is because that girl said them in like the same sentence and like kind of it's almost like they were under the same category for me. It's like those two are like your kind of thing. That's what you said. They're like those two suit your sort of style or whatever it was. So I honestly don't know what the difference is then. I would have to assume Bungee Gum is aura because it can only be seen by Gyo, right? But then how does he... I think he has something else, you know. I think he has something else. Like, he has... I don't think he's just a transmuter. I think he's learned something else, and I don't know what it could be. I guess it could be emitter. I think it is emitter. Because if he's able to control his aura, even if it's away from his body, I guess that's what emitters can do. They can manipulate aura that is not attached to their self, which is what the other aura classes have to deal with. Like it has to be something that is attached to them in a way, like attached to their aura. But being able to propel something to something else and then control it from there, I think only something an emitter can do. Although no, because an manipulator can do that as well, right? Yeah, that's something a manipulator can do. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is gonna annoy me. I'm just trying to think like what he did with the bungee gum, which I have to assume is aura because it can only be seen by Gyo, right? So it has to be an aura, and he he basically the equivalent of propelling it and attaching it to a rock and then flying it that way, right? So, all right, I'm just gonna say it. I think he's a transmuter and he can emit as well. He's an emitter as well. I'm gonna say that. Anyway, that's that. All right. God. Anyway, yeah, it was a creative attack. I loved it. You know, and him being dishonest, lying about the direction it was coming from was really good. I loved it. So yeah, after the match, that basically ended it as well. He said that the next fight, he says you won't fight him until the next 10 fights. Or at least that's what he said. He said 10 fights should be enough. It's like if you win your next 10 fights, then he can come see me, right? The thing is though, how would Hisoka know that? I mean, I guess because if he's going by the personality thing, simple, he's earnest, right? So it's not like Hisoka's, it's not like Gon's gonna lie about that, right? So I guess it's not a kind of a thing where Hisoka needs to keep an eye on him and see what he's doing the whole time, you know? Even though Hisoka would love to, because he just seems to love everything Gon does. He loves to see him progress and everything like that, you know? But yeah. So he said 10 fights would be alright, even if we were to see each other again in this, but we won't. So he says that the next fight's not going to be here, but it's going to be in the real world. And it's going to be with their lives on the line. So it doesn't necessarily mean a battle to the death. It just means that there's no rules. So if one of us dies, then that's that. But yeah, that's fucking going to be nuts when that comes around. I wonder if we're going to actually see Hisoka's fight with the Floor Master or not. Because I'm kind of... It's interesting, like, the way the story sort of and this is in regards to what happened in episode 35, where we were told that Kurapika had learnt Nen. So that's that, you know what I mean? We didn't see it happen. I wonder if it's going to be like a similar thing where like we just learn, like we learn the same time as Gon does that Hisoka became a floor master and whatnot, right? Because he won his match or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But regardless, they're moving on. So yeah, we're moving away from the Heavens Arena now. So I don't think we're really going back there. Then I mean, I don't think we will. I mean, we might go back like for like, I don't know, maybe a couple episodes, maybe a one-off episode where we go back and see Wing and Zushi and whatnot. Who knows? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're going back to Gon's home island, Whale Island, to see Mito again. So I guess that's going to be next episode. Like a one-off, like a connecting episode, you know, connecting from like one arc to another. So yeah, should be good. But yeah, I really enjoyed these last two episodes. They were really good. So yeah, but that's all I have got for this episode. So yeah, really good. But that's all. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content, you can get yourself over there. You can also come talk to me at the community as well, and Patreon as well. So I do have a Patreon. If you do want to support me, that would be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier for $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week as well. $10 a month, that is the full length. Gives you access to my full length library. Everything Naruto gets a full length. Exclusive tier, but that is being changed around really soon. It might have changed by the time this episode comes out, but no, I'll let you all know about that. You can find out on Patreon anyway. And there's the Elite and God tiers there, which are $50 and $100 as well. So every time you pay those, or one of those, you get your choice of show that you want me to watch on the list. And I'll react to them when I get round to them, okay? God tier basically means that your show gets propelled to the front. I'm an emitter. Right, so yeah, that was all. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.